The year was 19 something and something, and some man has just invented the mechanical switches. It was all well and good until someone else came along and invented the internet, allowing everyone to now share their very harsh opinions on which switch is the best. And it has been pretty much downhill since then. But out of all the switches, probably one of the most controversial that has been created has been the blue switch, because it takes a rather popular type of switch, a tactile one, but makes it, for some people, way more annoying, and for others, really amazing. Really. And recently, when I needed a brand new keyboard because my last one decided to stop working, and by the way, if you have missed my whole new keyboard quest saga, then I recommend checking out. It will be up in the icons. I highly recommend it, because it's my own videos and I need the views. And I decided to go from a Cherry MX Red keyboard, the Aorus K7, which from my research many people didn't even know existed, and instead I went with this, the Logitech G512 SE. Is it any good? Or is it just a weird forgotten twin of the G512 that the family will not talk about? Because G512 is really a decent budget keyboard, but is its non-identical twin over here any good? Well, that's a complicated question which I'll try to go over now and not bore you to death at the same time. So if you know more about G512 than you do about your significant other, then you pretty much also know everything there is to know about the G512 SE. Or kind of. I'll try to make this review apply to both, but there are a few minor differences I would want to go over as well. So before I compare the two siblings, let's talk over the keyboard itself. And man, do Logitech make good looking peripherals, it's amazing. I already loved the look of my G512 Lightspeed from Logitech, so I was definitely very keen to look up into some more peripherals of them, not just to make it all match up, but also because, well, they're just good looking. They have a nice, clean black aesthetic without being too gamery or edgy or over the top. And the G512 is no different. With a beautiful alloy finish, beautiful and high quality keycaps, great overall minimalist design, and a rather low profile for such a large keyboard, if that makes sense. But even in the looks, you can really start seeing some differences between the SE and the normal one. As in the SE, you get no braided cable, just a normal, boring cable. Now, for many, including myself, that's not really a deal breaker. Another great feature of these keyboards is the addition of USB passthrough, which is amazing. I absolutely missed that feature on my Aorus K7, which I even had on my cheapo generic mechanical keyboard I had before that. However, despite me calling the cheap option of a keyboard, it does quite a few things it did better than even this one, which costs around $100. Regarding USB pass-through though, it only needed one USB port, because while we've reached the age where a keyboard is going to take up two of your USB ports. That's right, this keyboard requires two USB ports, as at the end the cable splits into two USBs, one for overall keyboard control and one for the USB pass-through, which I'm just so confused why they couldn't do both in one, especially since, again, a cheaper keyboard could do it, especially since both it connects are USB 2, so you're not even getting USB 3, plus I'm no keyboard scientist, but something tells me that if they did go with a single USB Type 3, then we wouldn't have the problem of having to use two of a very fine amount of USB ports. Oh, and also this cheapo keyboard also had a braided cable, so clearly, at a budget, it can be done Logitech. The whole splitting it up into an SE and a normal one is just dumb, and I wish they just had one and they just threw the best features and the best pricing into that. And let's talk about some more questionable design choices they went with, shall we? The other strange design choice here is that you only have indicator LEDs for two settings, caps lock and the normal win lock option, which basically just means that you can't press down the Windows key when you're gaming, so you don't get distracted from your gaming, so you can be gaming for longer. So yeah, there is no LEDs for ScrLock and NumLock. And sure, most people won't be using ScrLock, but NumLock's one of those things that quite a few people use, but it's also one of those things that can change a lot if you press it by accident. Like, I just don't understand it. If they already have two indicator LEDs there, how much more expensive would it have been to add in two more? But you may be saying, Avrona, it's a budget keyboard, of course you can't expect everything to be there. And true, but I also at least expect features that have been in keyboards for more than 2 decades now. So it's definitely rather confusing. Maybe it's all just part of Logitech's master plan to make you spend more on the higher end keyboards that at least have basic functionality that has been in keyboards for ages. And let's get on to one of the main things you're here for probably, the switches, the beautiful, beautiful switches. And this has been definitely a very interesting learning experience for me, because not only have I ever not tried GX Blues before buying this keyboard, but also I never tried any blue or clicky switches for that matter. But they're like the modern reds, the average white girl of keyboard switches, because I liked reds at the start because they didn't feel as mushy as previous keyboards I owned. But when I found these, it was like finding an oasis. I never imagined a key could be that much more satisfying, and when I tried my Cherry MX Red switches again, those felt extremely mushy by comparison. Now sure, not everyone wants that tactile feedback, and there's definitely quite a few people who will probably drive themselves mad with the constant clicking, but for me at least, it is definitely great, as pressing every key down carries the weight it requires, and because of that extra tactile feedback, you get the comfort that you press everything down. And also notice that I didn't hesitate as much with this keyboard. With other keyboards, if I felt I didn't press a key, I would press it again, and instead I would just type 2 characters instead of 1. Or instead of pressing A once in a game, I would press A twice and just fall off a ledge. It all felt a lot more responsive, but I know what you want here. You want a proper sound test, so here you go. So the question of if you like these switches is just a question of, do you like clicky switches in general? And if the answer is yes, then congrats, maybe you found yourself your next keyboard. But if these switches aren't your thing, but you're just really into the G512, then no worry, they styled them with a linear red and a tactile brown as well. Just not the cherry ones, their own GX ones, because I guess that sounds more extreme than the fruit. And of course, since it is a gamer-focused keyboard, let's talk about RGB. It uses the Logitech Lightsync engine, and man is it good. Like going from RGB Fusion used for Aura's products, this was amazing. The amount of customization you can have is pretty good. What I liked especially are the animations, like the one I usually run, the lightning one, because I just love thunderstorms and we don't get them here in England, so at least I can recreate the wonders using just some light up key caps, which is a bit less interesting than a real storm. And if you don't like any of the pre-made animations, you can even make your own using a very extensive suite of tools to make everything you may want appear. And as someone who owns a Logitech mouse, it's also been nice to sync them both. And seeing how great of a reputation Mice by Logitech G have right now, then chances are you own one. And if you own this keyboard, well, there's something to look forward to, as you're gonna have a nice overall, sleek, synced up everything. So then, is this keyboard worth buying? Well, that's a complicated question. There is quite a few things I find annoying about it. The USB pass-through requiring its own USB port on your PC, the fact there's only 2 LED indicators, the lack of a braided cable, and also some other stuff that I didn't really mention that's still kind of annoying. Like the fact it's not built with support for any wrist rests, which is kind of disappointing, because I was hoping that when I went in to try and, experience everything the world of keyboards has to offer, when I finally had the opportunity to try something new, I was also hoping to maybe try the wrist rest, but sadly, nope. Instead, you do have support for, well, whatever this hole is supposed to be for. I don't know why they included this, or what is it for, but yeah, there's this weird hole you can screw in a screw in the back, which is basically compatible with your standard camera screws. So if you ever wanted to, I don't know, put it up on a tripod or something for some reason, then there you go. Now that I think about it, maybe it's supposed to be used on those like weird camera mounts, the ones you can just have like hanging off your desk, so you can have your keyboard actually floating in midair, just being holstered by that one screw. Like, I don't feel when you're typing away at it, that's gonna be the most comfortable thing, and I feel it could just snap off, but it could be something worth experimenting. There's literally no information about this hole that I can find out there, so it's a mystery. If anyone from Logitech is watching, which I highly doubt it, because Q watches my channel after all, then if you know what it's for, please let me know. But here's the interesting part. Keyboards have gotten ridiculously expensive, and I still stand by the fact that spending almost $100 on a keyboard is still absolutely ridiculous. And no keyboard should cost that much. However, they are costing that much nowadays. So like it or not, if you don't want to spend too much on a keyboard, then this may be your only option, even with all its pros and cons. It's a keyboard of compromise, and it's just a keyboard that perfectly represents the current standing of the whole keyboard market. Sure, it's cheap, and for us who really don't want to spend that much money on a keyboard, it's there, but also we'll be missing out on a lot that the really expensive keyboards have. It's almost like it has been made to convince us to spend more on a more expensive keyboard by showing us how much we're missing out on. But I mean, it's still a keyboard that works. It has really amazing switches, amazing design, USB pass-through, which is still good if not executed amazingly well. So it's an amazing keyboard for the price, and it's pretty much one of the only options we have in the more budget range when it comes to branded keyboards, even though I still hate the fact that almost $100 for a keyboard is now budget. It's just a nice choice for us plebs who don't want to spend too much on keyboards, and if you do have the money to spend more, definitely buy something else. If you don't want to spend that much money, then this is still an amazing choice, and man do I like it, and I'm definitely glad I went with it. And if you want to buy it, then I recommend checking out our Amazon link, which will be down in the video description below and also probably in the pinned comment. Down there I'll link both the SE and the normal one, and if you buy any of them and also pretty much anything else using our Amazon link, not only do we get part of the money, but also you don't pay anything extra. So just a win-win. Everyone's happy. It's just amazing. It's a Christmas miracle. So yeah, definitely check out the link. Or else. Apart from that, down there you also find my Patreon if you want to, monetarily support the channel. As even $1 a month goes a long way, helping me make way better content and also content on way more interesting topics. I also have to afford keyboards that are becoming ridiculously expensive nowadays for some reason. Also down there you'll find my Discord if you want to talk to me or others about this keyboard or really whatever else. If you want keyboard recommendations, if you want any recommendation when it comes to hardware or peripherals or anything else, check us down there. It's awesome. I promise it's not dead. And let me know what other videos you want me to do in the future as well. But I guess that's really it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.